Okay, welcome to our live stream. Today we're going to talk about Easter, everything from traditions to food, wine, whatever. What's happening
That's
here in
right.
Italy right now.
Ciao,
So,
Katarina.
so
Ciao.
Carol and me here are going to talk a bit about that, but feel free to jump in and ask questions, those of you who will be following. So do you want to start saying something, Carol, and I will share it in some groups while you talk?
Okay, so we decided, Katarina and I talked earlier this week, and we thought that we would just talk about Easter, even if, maybe it's not like a huge holiday for either one of us personally. But living in Italy for many years, it sort of you sort of realize very quickly that it's a very, very big and important holiday and festival, and not just Easter Sunday, but all those sort of days around it are super important. And so, the both of us living here for many years, we've come to realize that this is really an important holiday that involves like a number of different types of foods from north to south Italy. They celebrate with different foods depending on the region and the place and the family tradition. And we were talking earlier even about a special wine in Umbria that Katarina is going to talk about that they make, or drink, I'm sorry, specifically around Easter time. And then different festivals and customs or games that they play in different regions as well. So we'll kind of talk a bit about some of these different things, just to give you an idea. But Easter is a really big deal in Italy, right, Caterina? I mean,
Yeah, people are crazy. They have to celebrate Easter.
yeah, I mean, and this year in particular, Italy's in lockdown. We're still really struggling here for a variety of different reasons. We're in lockdown through, I believe it's Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
So red zone, the entire country. They're really pushing for people, even people with second houses, not to travel to their second homes, just to visit family, with just a few people in the home that they're visiting. Blah blah blah. Is a certain number of people. I don't have all the exact details because I'm not planning on going anywhere, but it's we're back in really strict lockdown once again. So while America and other parts of the world are moving quite quickly with the vaccinations, and people are all woohoo, you see a lot of on social media. I've been off social media for a couple of weeks, but people are really, I can see, rejoicing, understandably so, about the vaccinations and moving forward. And I saw some quick like headlines and posts today about like post-pandemic, and I'm like, what? We're still fully in the midst of pandemic here in Italy. So it's we're not talking post-pandemic by any means. So it's really interesting, and leaves me with a kind of funny feeling when I see all this progression and things happening, at least on the American side. And here in Italy, we're pretty still pretty much steeped, pretty I don't want to say deeply, but still in a very serious way in COVID, different strains of COVID, and very slow rollout of the vaccine. So I don't know. Do
you think that everybody in the US has been vaccinated? I don't think so.
No, certainly not everybody, but many people I know, and many people in my circles have already been at least the first round. Many have already received the second around a lot of young people as well, which kind of shocks me. It's like even super young people have been vaccinated as well. I don't know. I mean, from where we sit, it's really strange for me. I don't know what's going on in Sweden. Maybe you can share a bit, but they're
I don't
really.
know, but I don't think they, as being separate in everything, I don't think they vaccinate much. I know that they probably have vaccinated kind of health workers, but I asked a friend of my mother she's around 70, but she also has some problems. But she said she hadn't even heard anything. So I don't know. I don't think it's. I don't think they're doing a lot of vaccinations. But then in general, I mean, they I think it's also, I don't know, they don't want to invest too much, I guess. Already they didn't want to invest too much in, in spending for safety against the virus, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know there too. I mean, it's a bit weird because they have like 9 million or maximum 10 million people, so they would be very fast to do the vaccination. I mean, it wouldn't take that long.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's countries like France and Germany and here in Italy, it's a bit more complicated because there are much more people. So. But I don't know. I don't ask because it's always a sensitive topic, I realize that it becomes like, if you ask too much, it's like you're complaining about the state and how they're managing things. So I try to not
ask too many questions.
No.
Yeah.
But, I have a really what I was saying is about the post pandemic. I don't think, I think we have to go to 2022 to talk about post pandemic, because even if of course it's going to be good to be vaccinated, but it doesn't mean that you can't be a carrier of the virus or give it to others. So
right,
it just means that you protect yourself if you get it, so you don't get sick, but it doesn't mean that you can't get it. So I think you still have to be careful even when traveling, because if you end up in a place where people are not vaccinated, I mean, it's not like you can go around freely in case you would have it without even knowing it. So I don't know. I think it's going to be very complicated, everything. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I agree. And also the vaccination, it's not clear whether an vaccination covers you as in terms of susceptibility to the newer strains that are out there, not just the UK strain that has hit Italy really hard, but the Brazilian strain, the Jamaican strain. I don't know. There's all these different strains, right? So it's not clear if getting vaccinated protects you from these various strains. And I know that there are some people in Italy that are kind of anti-vax, but it's not like a huge movement, or they're not really vocal about it. Whereas in France, like there are tons of people who are anti-vax. So it kind of depends on the country too, and how different people are responding to the vaccine. I mean, everybody I know here in Italy is ready and, to sign up and get on board and get their vaccine. But it's not that way.
I have some, I don't know, depends on which vaccine, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm a bit skeptic to one of them, but I don't know. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see.
I'm hoping that if they offer me the vaccine, that they will not offer me the one that I don't want. So
I know, because some of them have different physical reactions, right? Some people get really sick. I can't remember which one it is, the stronger sort of physical effects, where people have, feel like they kind of have the flu for a couple of days or something. and others have like no symptoms or no big response. So I don't know.
Well, there is one of them who has created problems and continue to do so, even if it has been confirmed again. But then I also guess because they don't have anything else, so it's not like they can say no, we're not going to use it any longer. I think it's a bit complicated, all of it, because of course, you know, these are the vaccines they are, and they have already paid money for them, so it's not like they can say that we don't want to use them anymore. No?
Right.
But anyway, let's talk more about
let's move on
Easter.
to Easter. All right, let's talk about happy things. We're here to talk about Easter, not the vaccine and the COVID situation, which is lingering on far too long for all of us. But let's talk about Easter. And of course, in Italy, we always talk about food first, right? Food and wine, because that's sort of a big passion here, and that's what everyone's talking about. It's funny when you walk out to the streets, you can often hear people talking about what they're going to make and what they're buying. And I go on, you know, my little bike rides with my women's group. I have a group of females that I cycle with, and they're all talking about their recipes and what they're going to make. And so I ended up being convinced that I had to get lamb, which I recently found out that the lamb represents life, and that's why you eat lamb on Easter. And I didn't really know that. I mean, I just didn't realize it had such a symbolism. I mean, I never asked myself, like, why do people eat lamb on Easter? But it represents life, and the eggs. The whole thing with the eggs is all about rebirth. The theme around rebirth, which I didn't know either. But so there's all kind of symbolic foods that are eaten. The colomba, the dove, the big beautiful sweet bread that everybody eats on Easter. It's called colomba. Is representative. The shape is, of course, a dove, and I'm not exactly sure how that fits into life and rebirth.
No, I never understood that either. So if somebody can explain it, feel free to do so, because I don't know.
No idea what the colomba is about. I might have it somewhere here in my notes. But what are you going to eat for Easter, Katarina?
I have no clue. I mean, in Sweden we would eat kind of similar to Christmas. So, well, of course, painted eggs, but it would also be like herring and some other dishes that are typical also for Christmas. But I don't know. I don't really do them here because it's not like I crave them that much, and nobody else eats them anyway here. So it's not like I make them either. But I don't know. I think I'm going to have like 3 lunches, so I don't really know what we're going to eat. I think we'll just keep it simple, probably, and
keep it simple.
Yeah, you know, just to meet up. I mean, I think that's the main thing. You know, to see people, to see friends. So
right.
I don't know. What are you going to eat?
Well, like I said, I'm definitely gonna make lamb. I was inspired by my Roman site buddy who she prepares the lamb in a very particular way. She hasn't sent me the recipe yet, but she talked all about it on the side, and I decided I'm going to make her lamb, and she's going to send that recipe to me. And then she talked about this other very particular thing that they make in the South called casatiello. Have you ever heard of it? It's actually Neapolitan. Even she's from Rome, but her husband's Neapolitan, and it's called casatiello, and it's a cake stuffed with cheese, pancetta, so all different types of salumi, and whole eggs, all mixed into this cake. And there's a fair amount of lard in there, I think so too, that kind of keeps it all together. It's incredibly dense dense and rich and pretty heavy. But she was telling me how this is something they typically eat on the Saturday evening for Easter Sunday. So I was kind of looking up recipes for that because I thought it might be something my boys would be sort of interested in because it's so like intense, but it's a little over the top. So that was one thing that was really interesting. What's that?
I've never tasted it, but it sounds very like heavy as a as a dish. Seems very like.
Yeah, I was kind of looking today to see if there was anything like very particular to Florence and Tuscany, and I didn't find anything other than the fact that on Pasquetta, which is Monday, the day after Easter, most people in Italy go out and do a little or a big walk, and they have a picnic. Now, this is something I'm sure, Katarina, you've heard about over the years. Everybody does like a picnic on Pasquetta. And they often, here in Tuscany, eat the marzolino, which is the very, very fresh or newest, like pecorino cheese, and the fava beans, which are all around now in the supermarkets and out in the gardens and everything. So they bring a big batch of fresh fava beans and the fresh marzolino cheese, and they go off and have a picnic, and they overindulge on the cheese and fava beans. So that's something that happens in general in the springtime, but it's a particular thing for Tuscany and something that people definitely do on Pasquetta, during the Pasquetta picnic the day after Easter. So that's a really special thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember now about the fava beans and the pecorino, because it's also the period now when kind of early spring.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, if they don't do picnic, at least everybody has to go somewhere, either to the to the coast or to the countryside or to somewhere outside the city. So I guess that's the big thing.
That's the big thing, but the fact that we're in lockdown this year, I don't really know how that's going to work. And I think a lot of people are only allowed. I was reading the restrictions the other day, and I think you're really only allowed to walk in your comune, like with the sort of municipality that you live in. So people aren't going to be going up in the hills unless they're sneaking off and doing things they're not supposed to do, like I do. But I think people are mostly gonna need to stay at home and walk in their neighborhood or walk along the Arno in Florence or what have you. I
guess the parks will be full and the Arno, and if it's the nice weather, I guess all these places will be packed with people.
That's right.
I mean, already today there was a lot of people out. I mean, it's supposed to be red, but
I know. A ton of traffic outside today. I noticed.
I guess if we didn't make it red, it would have been even worse. So
yes,
I think so. At least if they had kind of let it be either yellow or orange, I think people would even have gone away without hearing anything. So
that's true. That's true.
So
it's very true. Like the more strict the rules, the more people want to break them, right? So people are running. It's red. Well, let's go. Let's go shopping. Yeah. Although there aren't a lot of things open. I mean, besides supermarkets and pharmacies and like real essentials, everything is closed, including the hairdresser, and the esthetician, which is a very important thing around holiday time. So none of that fussing and frou-frouing. So that's not happening.
I'm okay because the bars are still open, so you can at least take away the coffee, and then I kind of sit outside in the sun and drink it, so it's okay. Otherwise, I would be more stressed if they were closed also, like
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
So at least some minimum connection. I mean, that you see some person every day, because
Yeah,
otherwise,
it's true. It's really funny that you go to the bar, you get your little coffee in your paper cup, which we're not used to in Italy, and you go outside and there's no place to sit down. Like you can't sit down anywhere. You must stand and drink your coffee in your paper cup, and then try, which is so like such a non-Italian coffee experience completely. But anyways, so be it, and hopefully this is gonna pass soon. But
no, I think so. I mean, I think it. I mean, April is probably going to be a bit tough still, but then I think it's going to ease up, don't you?
I hope so. I really hope so. After they're kind of keeping us in suspense, right? Because they said after April 6th, after this next these red days or lockdown days, we don't know what's going to happen next. And I haven't read any predictions or what they're thinking. Although there are a couple of holidays that come up, like at the end of April, the April 25th Liberation Day and May 1st, which is Labor Day in Italy. I've heard that they're going to do another lockdown, like they're doing for Easter, to keep people from moving around and traveling. But aside from that, I really don't know what's happening in April and then of course in May. Working in travel, that things are gonna open up.
Those holidays, I think it's going to be closed, because otherwise people would kind of leave immediately on the 20th of April and go everywhere. So I think it's too risky. It's a bit like last year that they had to kind of wait and open up until mid-May or something.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So you're doing this lunch with friends, you said, and your sons. Anything else you have planned?
Yeah, I have a couple of friends coming into town who will be coming by, and then I have my two sons, and we're doing lamb, and I'm sure I'll do something with eggs, and I'll definitely pick up a fresh colomba from the local bakery.
Oh, yeah, I have to do that too.
I just read actually that the colomba represents peace. So we've got lamb for life, eggs for rebirth, and the colomba for peace. So we're doing really well here with our Easter menu. But I did want to talk about. I was reading about these different traditions and in different parts of Italy, and there are a couple of crazy ones. Like in Puglia, I was reading about how there's one or several villages where they hang up these kind of puppets outside of their house for several weeks, kind of leading up to Easter, and then during Lent, and then on Easter Sunday all the puppets are taken down and kind of burned it says in a symbolic gesture to drive out bad spirits and welcome back Christ. Yeah, like some really crazy things. And I've always heard that Easter is very intense in the south of Italy in terms of processions and customs and things that people do, but and they're much more sort of still tied to a lot of pagan rituals that maybe have just completely disappeared in central or northern Italy, but in the south they still have these really strong ties. So there's another one in Sicily, in the coastal town of Terrazini. It says this festival called Schietti, where the men of the town take their turns in lifting up a huge orange tree, weighing around 50 kilos, and carrying it above their head with just one arm. And whoever manages to hold the tree for the longest time wins the contest. And this is something that dates back to the 17th century, early 18th century. So there's a couple of places I know in Italy where they do this kind of egg rolling competition. Have you ever heard of that? Because I think that's something they do in Florence as well, where they're rolling the egg. Have you heard about it?
I've heard about it, but I've never seen it, so I don't know.
Yeah, I've never seen it either, but a friend of mine was telling me the other day that it's a Florentine custom as well. And I'm trying to find it here. Oh, well, here they call it the Egg Olympics, the palio, the egg palio. And here they're referring to a small village in Emilia Romagna, but I'm pretty sure it happens also in Tuscany and in other parts of Italy. But it says, let's see, favorites include a timed race to find eggs hidden in haystacks, egg throwing contests, and egg races, both eating as many eggs as you can and running as far as you can without smashing your egg. So the men compete each Easter Sunday while the women do the battle on Easter Monday. So these are just kind of funny, festivals and games and things around Italy that happen for Easter. And of course, a lot of religious processions and religious kind of, carrying.
Processions a bit everywhere, like this kind of, I see something, the Processione dei Misteri in Trapani, and the things you said in Puglia. Yeah, no, there's a lot of things happening.
Yeah. And who knows how much of this is happening, of course, in COVID, because people can't gather in large groups. And so probably this year and last year, a lot of this stuff just isn't even happening, unfortunately. But these are traditions, and certainly we can only hope that next year people are going to be really happy to be able to get back out there and do all their famous, traditional Easter celebrative things. Because I kind of think none of this is really happening this year.
No, I don't think so either. Also because I mean the processions attracts crowds, and if you don't have a crowd, you can't, and you can't have a crowd. So
you can't have a crowd
unless they do something kind of virtual, but that would be a bit sad. I think a bit boring to do
virtual, right?
And
what's that?
They broadcast it, but I don't know. I mean, I guess it wouldn't be the same. So
exactly. And a lot of these festivals are so important for the elderly people, and you can imagine, like, the elderly person isn't going to jump on a Zoom celebration of some famous long.
Yeah, I think it would be kind of, it would be anticlimactic also for the people in the procession to walk through the streets all alone. I mean, I think that would be like suicidal.
Right.
No. I mean, that would be really to feel the how do you say, the heaviness of the destiny of Jesus if you had to walk the procession all alone. I don't know.
Right. Exactly.
Also because, like, at least in Sicily, it's like always packed with people. I mean, I remember I was there once, not for Easter, but in August, when they have this the Ferragosto procession in Messina, and you couldn't get through anywhere. It was like the whole city was completely packed with people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's trying to be, But I guess not even last year they have had them. So I mean, I guess it's 2 years without civic rituals.
Yeah, 2 years without celebration or ritual. That's so true. And none of the sagre, the special food festivals that we have all year long, based on a particular food or fruit or vegetable or what have you that's in season. You have these kind of food festivals all over Italy. None of that is happening. Not the open markets are happening, but on a really, really reduced level. Like, I don't know about your local market in Florence, but the local markets in the province of Florence are pretty well reduced to like just a couple of stalls and tables. It's like half the size of what it used to be. I mean, they're still having the open market, but it's pretty small.
I haven't really been to the open market. The closest one here is Sant'Ambrogio, but I haven't really been there because I don't know. So I don't know. I guess it's also kind of very reduced here because it would be difficult to have it as before.
Right. Right. So we were talking a little bit earlier about like our own personal traditions and being here now 20 years in Italy. Of course, I raised my boys trying to share with them as many of my own, personal, whatever, family traditions. And, growing up Catholic in the States, I celebrated Easter. It wasn't nearly as intense and a kind of 3-4 day thing that it is here in Italy, and with all the traditions around it. It was a little bit more quiet, but we did have these like special Easter bonnets, like we wore these special hats, and we always had a special outfit and a little purse and gloves and all these kind of funny things around Easter time. And one of the things we used to do is, well, my dad would hide Easter eggs, and we would go find them in the woods. If it was nice weather, he would put them all over the garden and in the woods, and they were either a mix of like hard-boiled painted eggs that we had painted the days before, or chocolate eggs. There were tons of chocolate eggs. And so it was like this mix of, boiled eggs and chocolate eggs. And there are 5 kids in my family, so we just like went to town, because whoever got the most number of eggs, of course, got this big chocolate bunny or something, the grand prize. And so it was kind of a big tradition, but I think amongst a lot of families in the States. And so when I lived in Bologna for 10 years. I was part of a group of expats, and we did these kind of Easter egg hunts in big gardens in the middle of Bologna. And then, I just kept doing this during the years I lived in Bologna. And then when I moved outside of Florence here, I continued until maybe a couple of years ago. Once my youngest was like 12, he was starting to go, okay, Mom, I really don't want to do this anymore. So we finished a couple of years ago, but I was sort of like really pushing the last year, like, just one more year. Can't we just do this one more year? But it was fun and really beautiful, and just a part of my own,
But I remember, because I think it was the same expat group I was part of when I lived in Bologna.
Oh yeah, the IWF, the women's forum.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I never went to those Easter celebration. I can't remember. Perhaps once I went, but I remember that they organized them. No, it was a nice group. But I mean, in Sweden, I think we celebrated a lot of Easter. But I mean, it's not Catholic; it's Protestant. But the Easter there actually starts already like tomorrow, when it's the more pagan part of the celebration. So it's like when the witches go on their brooms to Blåkulla. So we don't have witches on the Befana. We have them on Easter Thursday.
On Easter Thursday. Cool. I never heard this. That's so interesting. So what do the witches do?
Well, they kind of it's the day when they fly to meet up all kind of in this place called Blåkulla, which is their kind of gathering place for all the witches. And so all children dress up to small witches and they go around. It's a bit like the Halloween of Sweden or North Scandinavian countries. So they go around like door to door and ask for kind of Easter candy and stuff like that.
Wow. I never
dress up like small witches.
Yeah. That's incredible. I never heard of that. And so then what happens on Friday?
On Friday, I mean, even when I was kind of little, it was really a sad day because everything was closed. I mean, it was really like when I arrived here, I was shocked that everything was open on Friday, because in Sweden it was like, now it's a bit better. It's still a kind of a red day, so it's like a Sunday, so all shops, everything is closed. But when I was little, I mean, everything was closed, and it was like really only kind of these kind of Jesus films on TV and all this stuff. It was really kind of a day to realize, the sadness of the world and what had happened, like. And then Saturday is like it's a bit like Christmas. You celebrate the Eve, so it's more celebrations on Easter Eve. Easter Sunday is bigger here, I think. But Easter Sunday, I think in Sweden, of course, you meet up with family or with friends, but it's not as. I think you celebrate more on Easter Saturday in the evening.
Yeah. And so did you have a special foods on Easter Sunday that were much different than, because in the States, a lot of people eat lamb and, I think I can't remember what else people eat on Easter, maybe ham, maybe like a special ham or something. But in Sweden, what do you eat on Easter Sunday?
I mean, I don't think that many eats lamb because it hasn't really been big. I think it's more ham, and then you have like painted eggs, and you eat a lot of kind of herring. Like this kind of different kind of not finger food. It's like food that you can eat easily. So you also have like meatballs. You have this kind of dish you have also on Christmas, which is it's called the Temptation of Jansson, which is basically sliced potatoes that you kind of put in the oven together with onions, cream, and pepper, and anchovies. So it becomes like it's a very heavy dish, but it's very particular. Yeah. I think it was a very poor dish probably. So it was like, you had potatoes and you had anchovies, and then probably you added the cream to make it a bit more, a bit more fashionable,
Yeah.
And, but I think like it would rather be chicken or ham. I don't think many people eat lamb in Sweden. It's not a meat that you eat much in Sweden.
Right.
But you would have all these kind of decorations, which is basically you would have, let's see what it's called in English. So you would decorate these kind of budding branches that you go out and pick in the garden or like in the woods, and then you kind of make a bouquet of them, and then you decorate them with eggs. I guess the symbolism there is also kind of spring and
sure. Rebirth, like the whole rebirth thing. Yeah.
And that's basically it. I don't know, Pasquetta, you don't do much. I mean, I guess some people go out walking, some people go out doing other things, but it's not as important as here, I think, Pasquetta.
Okay,
I think it's more.
It's an official holiday, though. The day off.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's more a religious day. I think the partying is more going on the Saturday and Sunday, and the Monday is more. Also because Swedes are very particular. It's like a working day the day after, so they have to go to bed early. Otherwise, they feel.
Right. Yeah. I kind of thought that the Pasquetta Monday thing, what is it? Like it's what's the official term in sort of Catholic terms? I guess is it Holy Monday, or I can't I can't remember what Pasquetta is like, has some sort of significance the day after the rising. That I can't remember the official. All those years of Catholic.
No, I can't remember either.
I forgot it all, but
I knew all of it stuff, but I can't remember it anymore.
Yeah, I can't remember what the Monday is all about, but I know that here it's just kind of it's definitely a big friends day. Like I remember when I first moved to Italy, people said Sunday you hang out with the family, or even the whole Easter holiday is more about like being with friends and getting together with friends and hiking and eating and being outside, and way more than Christmas, which is much more very intensely family oriented. Like you're not going to hang out with your friends so much around Christmas time. It's really intense family, but Easter is a little bit more loose. And another really common Easter tradition here in Italy, I remember hearing when I first moved here, and I thought it was really interesting, is that people would actually drive to the sea to pick out their summer home for the summer. Like they would, in Emilia-Romagna, they used to drive to the Lidi out there by Ferrara and Ravenna or whatever, and go and look at apartment after apartment to pick the place that they were gonna vacation in August. And it was like part of the Easter thing. Like you would go out to the sea and pick your vacation apartment or villa or whatever bungalow for the summer, which I always thought was really interesting. Now I don't think people do that much anymore, but it's like an old Easter tradition, because in Italy the sort of tourism period kind of always starts from Easter on. A lot of hotels or tourist establishments, like the beach, the places on the beach that rent out the beach chairs and whatever, they all kind of open up after Easter, and everything just kind of happens after Easter. So yeah.
No, but in Emilia-Romagna I can understand, because I remember that kind of Easter was as you say, the period when they started getting crazy about going to the seaside all the time. So it's like, even if it was kind of mid-April, you always have to go to the seaside, like in the weekend, if the weather was nice to already enjoy. So I can, but then it's also closer to arrive to the seaside from there. I mean, the autostrada is better than going to the seaside from here is a bit more. It's a bit further, no?
Mm-hmm. It's true.
I think. But I don't know. So actually, the Monday is the resurrection, I think, no?
Right. But do they call it something like something a special Monday? There's some sort of name for the Pasquetta in English or in other terms, but
I don't know. I'm fine with Monday.
So tell me a little bit about the wine in Umbria that you were mentioning that they drink around Easter time. Do you know much about that?
Okay, so I remember that there was something about Easter. So basically, when one of the first wineries I ever visited when I kind of started getting invited was the Cantino di Filippo, which is in Cannara, in Umbria. They're still in the Montefalco Sagrantino area. So the first time I went there, because I think they're if they're not the only winery, or like at least one of two wineries who make this Vernaccia di Canara, which is not the Vernaccia as the grape like we have here in Tuscany. But it's called more or less the Vernaccia Nera, so it's not a white grape. And they make it because apparently it's a wine that you would drink in the wintertime, and especially if, to have it with breakfast on the Easter morning. So I guess during the Easter weekend, when you have breakfast, you would accompany it with this wine. I don't really know exactly the history behind it, but I remember he told me, and I think I wrote something in one of my articles like several years ago. So I found that now. So the Vernaccia refers to Vernum, which would be the winter time. And it has nothing to do neither with the Vernaccia di Sara Petrona, Vernaccia di San Gimignano, that has other kind of origins. And yeah, that would be like an Easter wine, and it's more or less the wine that nobody makes anymore because it's kind of very, very local and very particular. But it was really nice. It's a bit similar to a Passito di Sagrantino. Not as tannic, but no, it's a nice wine. So if anybody ever goes to Umbria, you should try it.
Right. So it's a passito, though. It's after.
Yeah, it's a passito. Yes.
Dinner drink, kind of dessert wine, right? So
yeah, but I think they drink it with food. It's like also the Passito di Sagrantino. You can also drink with food. I mean, it doesn't have to be desserts.
I see. So it's not sweet. Then it's not sweet.
No, it is sweet, but it's not overbearingly sweet. But it's a bit also like the Vin Santo. If it's made well, you don't really drink it with dessert. You drink it with aged cheese, or you could also drink it with other dishes because it has a bit more structured complexity. So even if it's a bit sweet, it's not like only sweet. It has a bit mixed, complex. Which I think, like generally, when people drink Vin Santo, if they come over here to Tuscany, often they get the cheap version, which is very sweet. But if you would have like a more kind of artisanal Vin Santo, which of course has to age a minimum of 3 years, but often it ages for more, like for 5 or 6 years, and then it becomes a wine that is more like. It's more structured, it's sweet, but it also have like different kind of aromas that can be a bit spicy, it can be a bit kind of floral, a bit herby, a bit, so I mean, a bit more caramelized. So you can also have it to some other food, not only dessert.
Right.
I think this one is probably the same because if they drink it for breakfast, I mean, I guess it's not only with sweets.
Yeah.
But I guess also for breakfast is probably like, a farmer's wine. So it was something that they drank during the, before going out and, or if they went out in the morning to do the chores and then they came back in and they drink. I don't know.
That's right.
I'm imagining things now. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm just kind of inventing.
Yeah, well, you hear about these the drinking of the wine as the merenda, which means like the snack, the mid-morning snack, because of course they were working the vineyards like starting so early in the morning, like at 4 or 5 in the morning, and then breaking at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. and soaking bread in the wine and adding sugar on top or whatever. I'm sure you've heard about these different kinds of bread with wine, and even giving like young kids like bread with wine and sugar on top, like was really, really common. So
yeah, no, all my friends told me also that when they were like small, they got wine on the bread and sugar, and so yeah. But I mean, it is true. It is considered how do you say alimento? How do you say that in English? An aliment?
Yeah, like a food element or nutritional. Yeah, we don't think about wine in probably both our our own cultures. We don't think about wine as a kind of nutritional element. But here in Italy, for many, generations, it was definitely considered that. And I was reading recently where once upon a time it was considered like healthy to drink a liter of wine, daily, to keep yourself healthy.
But it was also much. I mean, it was also a wine that was much lighter, and it didn't have that much alcohol. I mean, now you have wines that are very strong, but I think in ancient times, in older times, I mean, you had wines that probably were like 5-6 alcohol percentage or 7 perhaps. So it wasn't that strong. And probably it was like drinking beer or something. I don't know. I mean, because at least in Greek and Roman times, I mean, you still had a wine that was much lighter in color. So I mean, more similar to the rosé wines today.
Right.
It was only during the Middle Ages that the winemaking process became a bit more refined, so you get more complex wines. And,
right.
And then I guess it was easier also to have it as part of the diet, or considering like a pressed grape or something.
Right. Yeah.
So anything else we should talk about? I know that there's not been any questions today. I think people are not that, or they don't have any questions today. I don't know. I see that there are some people listening in. So if you have any questions, to you who are listening, feel free to ask them. I don't know. Anything else we should? I mean, we can't travel, so we can't talk about that. But
yeah, we can't travel. We can't talk too much about and we just don't know anything about all that and when borders going to open up, if, when, how, whatever. It's all kind of who knows. But yeah, I think this was a really nice chat about Easter and just reflecting on the various traditions that are happening and have happened all over Italy, like for centuries on end, and it's nice just to be I don't know, to think about these things and to think about the fact that we can't really do any of that right now, but we'll be enjoying it in the future, even more so, right? When things go back to some sort of normalcy, and yeah.
No, for sure. I'm actually traveling on Wednesday.
I'm going
to Berlin.
To Berlin?
Yes, but I'm going for work. So it's a wine competition. So I'm going to be a wine judge.
Oh, that's incredible. Now, do you have to do some sort of COVID test before you fly, or?
Yeah, and since it's Easter, I hadn't thought about that when I kind of booked the tickets, or when I said because you can, it goes on for 10 days, and they have divided in 3 slots, so to have as little people together as possible. But you can choose 1 or more slots. So I chose 2, but I hadn't thought about Easter Monday. But luckily, I got the time on Tuesday morning to do a test, so I should have it in time before I have to check in. Wow, but yeah, it's a bit scary because you also have to try and book a test for the return, and then according to the new rules, I have to do 5 days of quarantine. So
okay, 5 days, is that what you said?
So I think it's still valid after Easter. I'm not sure, but I think so. So we'll see. Unless they take it away. I mean, unless they kind of eliminate that while I'm away, hopefully, so I don't have to do.
Yeah, that's very,
But it's
very
going to be-
exciting.
Yes, it feels very kind of. It's a bit because of course there's not that many flights. So basically, on the return, I leave in the morning and I arrive in the evening because there was only one connection that day. So it's like a bit, you know, it's like in older times, the travel takes a whole day. but,
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm curious to how it will be. I don't think there will be that many people on, traveling.
Flights, right. It'll be interesting. Yeah, to go through the airports and just experience that whole thing. But the event sounds really interesting as well. Exciting. What an opportunity.
I went also in September because they couldn't. I mean, a friend of mine recommended me because he couldn't go due to COVID. He's from Switzerland, and then they called me again, and I was just like, okay, I'm going. But yeah, it's interesting. So they also, I think now they have to do kind of random tests. So they're testing us when we arrive, and then I think they test us also during the week. In September they didn't because everything was a bit more open.
Right.
But they have kind of booked the whole hotel for only this competition, so nobody else is in the hotel, just to make everything, as safe as possible. So no other people comes in and comes out. And
wow, so you're the only people in the hotel, the only people. Yeah. For this
but
wine
I don't think the hotel has that much people anyway.
Exactly. Not that much.
Probably they're very happy that they have booked the whole hotel. I don't know.
Exactly. Exactly. Wow.
So it's going to be exciting. I don't know because the hotel where they do it is in the outskirts of Berlin, so it's not in the center. But I don't know. I think we have to stay there. I don't think there's going to be much room for going around. So
right,
because Germany is also fairly closed down still. I think I don't know.
Yeah. Wow, how exciting that you're actually traveling. Here I am, I work and travel, and I haven't traveled in so long. Send me a postcard.
Yeah. I will. No, it is very exciting. I think it's like since we were kind of children that we got this excited by, getting to travel.
Exactly. Anyways.
Yeah. So I think we will be back after Easter. I don't know, perhaps the Sunday after or in 2 weeks or so.
Okay.
And I don't know. Happy Easter, and also to all of us, all of those people who have been listening. Happy Easter, and
happy Easter to everyone wherever you are in the world listening in, and happy Easter, Katarina. Thanks for the great chat. It was lovely.
Thank you. We are still kind of figuring out how to but I think it's nice chats, and they kind of stay online, so people who want to go and listen to them can do so. And if anybody wants to reach out, if they're coming here, I don't know, in the summer, you can always contact Carol or me if they want more wine related stuff. So yeah, I think that's all. So thanks for the chat, and ciao, happy Easter.
What